Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about how to, there's a guaranteed way basically to steal clientele from your competition using search ads or Google search ads specifically. This is a method that I've used a couple different times now. I've used variations of this exact method many times now to get clientele off of Google or customers from Google using the search ads. This is specifically tied to when somebody's searching for your competition on Google search. They're looking for them primarily to check up and reorder from that competitor or check up on an existing order of some type. As people are searching for those competitors, you have identified that those are your competitors' customers or clientele. We're going to throw out an offer, a first purchases half off offer for those people to get them into our site and purchase from us the first time. Generally speaking, the first time we can get somebody from our competitor to buy from us just once, the likelihood that they'll buy from us again is like 5 to 10 times as high. And if you can get them to buy from you 3 times, the likelihood that they're going to buy from you is like 90% plus at that point, because at that point 3 times makes a habit and they're going to buy from you consistently and then after that. So technically, depending on what kind of business you're in and the amount of work it takes to get a customer loyal to your business, you can actually offer half off on the first, second, or third purchase to somebody normally dealing with your competitor, and then effectively get that competitor for a reasonable cost in terms of advertising spend. And you're not going to make any profit on the first few purchases, but you're going to build up a huge customer base just off the backs of your existing competitors' customer base specifically. But there's some key things to know about doing this the right way. There's technology involved in this. This is as simple as just knowing to offer it half off when somebody are searching, to do it the right way and to do it the way that in the examples and markets that we've done it in to get the results that we're getting, where we're getting between a 500 and a 2,000% ROI. There's certain things you need to know. So with all that said, I'll get right into the content. I have talked about stealing competitors from the competition before by saying why you're better than the competition, but this actually does better than that, because generally speaking, as I mentioned before, I got outside this general strategy of half off to new customers, if you're so-called doing business with the competitor, we'll actually, in most markets, as long as the market is relevant in that market, which most markets it is, when somebody searches for the competitor, we'll generally say why we're better than that competition in order to get that customer. We're twice as fast for half the price, or we offer 3 times the amount of power as our competition's product at the same price, or whatever it is that we do better than that competitor. That's what we'll say in our search ad as people are searching for that competitor to get them to come consider us instead. And ultimately, we'll actually be very explicit in that, even though that's technically a trademark violation. We do it anyway because it works so damn good for our clients that are willing to push the envelope on it a little bit, in that if they're looking for Jones's drill bits, and somebody's searching for Jones's drill bits on Google, we'll say Jones's drill bits basically suck, even without literally saying that. Mark's drill bits are twice as strong for half the price. And when somebody sees that, obviously it's going to pique their interest. What most people will try to do in that situation is just show up, have their ad show up saying Mark's drill bits, and that's it. And that's really lame, and that generally won't even work. It won't even be profitable, because the rate in which people click on your ad is so low, the Google penalizes you so much for not having a high click-through rate that the ad physically either stops showing because it gets like a 3 quality score, or just won't be profitable anymore. Whereas if you have a unique message that actually helps the user in that exact situation where they're looking for that exact competitor or exact product from the competitor, you help the user, and therefore anything that helps the competitor, or sorry, helps the competitor's customer or competitor's client, or helps Google's user, is going to be able to help you get a return. You got to be relevant in order to make money on Google search, basically, is bottom line with this. So that's typically how we'll run a competitor ad. But this actually works even better if you're willing to do it, which there shouldn't be any reason why you wouldn't be willing to do it. Most of the time we just do it this way that I just described because most our clients at our PPC firm are okay with that for the most part. And if anything, we leave the competitor's name out of the ad and then we'll run it that way. Technically, if you put the competitor's name in the ad, what you'll get is an angry email eventually after you've made a whole ton of money off of it saying, don't use our name on your ad. And then you could keep running it, but you just have to remove their name because technically having their name on your ad is technically a trademark violation, but we've done this a lot of times and nobody's ever done anything other than say, stop doing it. Anyway, and with this, if you have somebody that says stop doing it, the ad works at about a third of the rate in which having the competitor name on the ad. Because it's just that much more eye-catching and relevant to the user. And ultimately, for every competitor that we have a unique ad that mentions that competitor. So if the competitor came back and says you can't do that anymore, this method here works great because it doesn't rely so much on needing that competitor's name. In this situation, you're going to throw up an ad for your competitor searches, but it's going to be the same for all the competitors. So you're not going to say, we're better than Jones's drill bits because of X, Y, Z. You're just going to simply say, deal with us basically and get half off your first order. You could technically, if you wanted to, and certainly should actually consider saying, if you're going back to the drill bit example, if somebody's searching for Jones's drill bits, you want your ad to say, instead of buying Jones's drill bits, buy from us and we'll give you your drill bits at half off for your first purchase. In order to capture their attention at the highest rate possible, since that will get the user's attention at the highest rate possible. But in general, that's what we're doing here. And then through technology, we can actually make it so that if that person that we found that's searching for that competitor's name or product name, we could get them through our site and actually offer them half off the first purchase and actually make it stick to where they can't get their second or third purchase unless we want it to be. Like I said, sometimes you'll want to do it for the first 3 purchases to really build a habit, but make it so that they won't be able to abuse it or share the half off discount code that you ultimately are going to give the user, and make it all work. And also make it so that they can't get a whole ton of orders to abuse it that way. So half off your first order as long as it's not over $250, which is another thing to consider and work into your model or system here that like we are doing it. I actually found out this idea originally. It's not even my idea. I won't even take credit for it. If you look into the original growth or founding story of Papa John's Pizza, what Papa John did when he started up his pizzeria, he actually was trying to sell his pizzas out of the bar that he had and wanted to sell the delivery pizzas out of his bar because that's what he was doing at the time. So what did he do? He knew that if he could just sell to Domino's customers, which was the main other pizza delivery company in town doing it, that it would work because his pizza tasted better. So what did he do? He found out that which was a stupid move on Domino's part, that on the receipt, it actually had the customer's name on it and their phone number basically, or their address, one or the other. I can't remember what they said specifically, but anyway, with that, he could basically, if he could get his hands on the receipt from the Domino's customers, he then could sell to all Domino's customers, offering them half off their first pizza. And he knew if they tried it, then obviously they would want to do business with them buying his pizza from then on because it was that much better. So how did he get the receipts? He went dumpster diving in the Domino's dumpster for the receipts. And that's absolutely genius. Ultimately, if you go back and you look, like even Kinko's, if you look back in the way Kinko's got started, everybody thinks it's a great company and they started so legitimately. All it did when they started out was helping students copy textbooks with a Xerox machine, so they didn't have to buy textbooks, essentially allowing people to commit felony trademark violation and copyright using their own shop to facilitate it. So if it weren't for, yes, they did some legitimate photocopying, but the Kinkos that you see today wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for students photocopying like a chapter out of a textbook so they didn't have to buy the textbook. That's what it was all about. And so anyway, there's a saying, every great fortune started with a great crime. And if you look into enough companies, I mean, when you start out with no money and no investors, you got to get creative at least. I mean, obviously there's limits to it, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of people had to stretch the rules for at least a limited time period to be able to make things get out there so they could initially get some traction, and then they turned things around later on. But what Papa John's did wasn't even illegal. You can go in through someone's trash. That's not even illegal. And what he did wasn't even illegal. It's just a little bit, some people would call sketchy. But anyway, you want to do that same thing to your customers because it is fine. Technically, adding their customer name on the ad is technically get trademark violation. Technically, Google will let you do it until, or as long as you want, most of the time unless they complain to Google, which then Google will block it, but they have to submit paperwork to Google. Most people don't do that. Most people, they'll just contact you, say, please don't do it. You stop, and then that's it. And a lot of times, people won't even say anything at all. We have about half the time, the competitor won't ever even notice it. And then you'll make money off of it forever. But it'll still make money because it's a good enough offer, even if the competitor name isn't on it. So you get the general formula here. Person looks for your competitor on the Google search. You have an ad that says you're gonna, because you believe so much in your product or service that you're gonna offer, which it will work for a product or service, you're gonna offer them half off their first order. And that's gonna get a whole bunch of people who were going to finish their purchase, that they already decided that we're gonna make a purchase today through you because you're gonna give them half off. And then, your product or service is gonna be good enough that for all practical purposes, you're gonna steal that customer away. Now, we've done something also similar to this in the spa space that I made a video about this, where customers had to present the receipts to prove that they are a customer of the competitor. So, a day spa basically. And what we did was I said to the client, I said, basically, why is it that you just aren't going after all these people that go to the other spa? I mean, that's the main customer base. Of course, people are searching for a spa locally. That's great. We tap into that, but we have tapped into that. But beyond that, the number one thing that you need to be going after is all the people that go to the other spas. Because if you could just get in front of them and even say, we'll give you the first spa treatment for free, that's all you need to do. You don't need to be doing all this crazy bullshit marketing like on Facebook and all that. And at least unless you're going to try to get in front of the other people that go to the other spa. And you can do that, by the way, by going and contacting American Express, asking for credit card data on people who go to your competitors' stores, which that is a real thing. You can go to places like Nextmark mailing list. They'll have customer lists for people who buy products in your industry if it's large enough. And you can market to them by taking the email list and moving it online to Facebook and then running Facebook at the people who buy from your competitors already. And in that case, ultimately, that's not what we did. What we did specifically in that case is there's another way you can kind of do this, which is you create a Google Display Network campaign with a custom intent audience that's set up to have your ad target or show up when and only when somebody has searched for our competitor in the recent past. So you create a custom intent audience, you put all your competitors' keywords in there as the definition of that custom intent audience. And so when then somebody has recently searched for a competitor, anytime that they browse the web after that for like the next 30 to 90 days, you can have an ad that shows up for them. And in that case, our ad just said, if you're a spa goer in the New York area, we'll give you your next spa treatment absolutely for free. Just present your receipt to us and we'll give you that spa treatment for free. And that's exactly what we did, because the main thing was, how do we know that how do we get not people to abuse this? Well, if they have to bring the receipt in, obviously that proves they're an actual customer. And then beyond that, obviously if they have to come in, they have to give their name. So there is no way to abuse it. So that just, but more importantly, we had to make sure it's people that are from our competitor, because a new person off the street who gets the spa treatment, there's a lot of people, those people are just going to go take the freebie and then that's it. Which is why, by the way, stuff like Groupon sucks. Because at the end of the day, the people, when Groupon was hot, they thought it was a great idea to get customers. All Groupon did was get people who like discounts to try your shit because it was cheap, and they would have never tried it if it wasn't cheap, and then move on to the next cheap thing, which is the exact customers you don't want, because those are the ones that bitch all the time as well. So if you can get your competitors to try you, even if it's for free, it's fine, because these are people that are used to going to a spa, 10 times a year. So obviously offering it to them for free is nothing when you add up the lifetime value of a customer. So that's how you got to be thinking about this offer. Yes, you're going to have to be giving it for half off, which means all your profit margin's gone, but it's to get the customer that's going to be buying from you beyond that. So, and with that said, and with what we're talking about today, because people are actively searching for that competitor on Google search already, we already know that that person's doing business with or dealing with that competitor. Therefore, maybe not every single person is somebody who's coming back for the second or third or 10th time, but most of the people who are searching for that competitor, if we're in a market that has repeat business or repeat customers, we can assume most of those people are just good, loyal customers of that competitor already. So if we steal that competitor's customer away, we have a lot of lifetime purchases that are going to eventually come from that person. Therefore, we can pay a reasonable amount to get that person in the door, even if we have to give the first product away at no profit, to get that long-term revenue stream from that customer coming in. So with that, this does actually only basically work for people that are dealing with repeat customers. Because obviously if you give half off to somebody where you only usually have one customer and they only buy once and that's it, it's pointless. But for you guys that are selling, even if your average person only buys from you 2 to 3 times in the future, having your first order half off is okay, because usually anyway, in most businesses, if you offer half off, that just means you make no money on the first order, whereas if they're going to come back on average by 1.5 more times, then at least the 1.5 more times you got profit on those that you wouldn't have got otherwise, because they would have never switched from them to you. So basically you just have to do the math on it. You got to figure out what is a customer worth, go into your books. Everybody gives me hell when I talk to my clients and I ask them, what's your average customer worth? They say, oh, I don't know. Some customers are this, some customers are this. And there's something called an average. You have to average out what your customer lifetime value is worth to be able to know what you can spend in marketing to acquire a customer, and then after your expenses be making a profit. Because if you can't, all you're going to try to do is get a customer that's cheap enough that for what they pay on the first purchase, that it works out for you, you have a decent profit margin. But your competitors aren't operating that way. They're willing to pay more for a customer than you because they're looking at lifetime value of a customer, not an initial purchase. And so they outbid you for those customers, and you're just not going to get any customers. You got to be able to look at the lifetime value of a customer. You got to average out a value of a customer, and you got to be able to set a cost per acquisition that's in line with what that customer's true value is worth, and then go out and find marketing strategies that will get you at a cost per acquisition, initial cost per acquisition, that'll work within your margins in your business and all, the expenses that you have and so forth. So anyway, with all that said, the physical mechanics behind this, some of you have done all the math, okay, a customer usually is worth $500 between all the average amount of purchases that they're eventually going to make over their lifetime. So I could pay, because of our product costs and all this, I can pay $75 to get a customer and still end up with, the 6-to-1 return that I at least need to be profitable at our company. And so with that, anything that drives a $75 cost per acquisition through our marketing will do. And you start with that number. As far as then, if you're going to take my advice, which you should, of course, on doing this method for a service or a product, it works equally for both. If you have a lot of repeat customers coming in, what you're going to do is you're going to run it. First of all, you have to build a search campaign that targets all your competitor terms. Going back to what I said before, the best practice here would be to create an ad group for every competitor so that you can have a unique ad for every competitor. In that, every competitor, you can put the name of the competitor in the ad. Don't buy from X. We'll offer half off your first order with us. And so that it calls out the person based upon the competitor that they're searching for or doing business with. And that's basically how you set up the campaign. So then you'll show up every single time somebody types in that competitor name. If you're a product business, you want to bid on all the competitor product names as well. If they have unique product names and they have their own brand of products, then you want to, the way that people refer to each individual product, you want to do the same thing. Before you buy product name, buy our equivalent product for half off for being a first-time customer. And that's how you do it. So anyway, you get the general idea of how to set the campaign up. But in terms of offering the discount, this is where it kind of gets tricky. So there's something called the Hello Bar. You can Google that. That's a Neil Patel ran company. Hello Bar, which it's not really only called Hello Bar, but Hello Bar is generally where you have something at the top inch of the screen that shows up, or you can have a message that shows up at the top inch of the screen, also the bottom if you want. And you can have that Hello Bar tool only show a message on the top and bottom inch of the screen if somebody comes from your competitor campaign here that I just told you to set up. So that you can say, to get half off your purchase, call 1-800 blah, 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 and put the telephone number. And if it's a local business, you use your local area code because it'll work better. But that's what you do so that when somebody clicks on the ad, they know how to get the discount, and also they know that right away when they hit the site that you're not kind of tricking them. With hellobar.com, you can also do a pop-up that shows up in the middle of the screen right away. And the same thing, unless they clicked on a competitor ad that has your half off pitch on it, they're not going to see that message because it has a conditional rules that say, unless they clicked on this campaign specifically, don't show this message. And so that's what you do. Then the reason why you have them call is because most shopping carts, unless they're custom, you're using something custom, aren't going to give you the flexibility to do what I'm mentioning here to do or should do, out of the box, if you will. And it also kind of protects you. At least the way that we're doing it for clients here, it'd be phone number. And of course, on the Hello Bar, like I mentioned, it must say call for your half off discount. When they call, you give them a special discount code that they have to use through your shopping cart here. Or of course, if it's a service, you just take their order through the phone naturally. But if you're talking about e-commerce here, you give them a one-time use discount, which most shopping carts have that functionality within it. So that, i.e., if after they've used the discount code, they can't share it with anybody else and they can't use it again. But in addition to that, to protect yourself, to prevent like competitors coming in and buying all your stock at half off, you can tell them over the phone that there's a max purchase caveat to this offer, and that we're only going to let you get half off up to $250 worth of purchase value. So you can buy whatever you want in the store, it's half off, but only up to $250. That's the limit. And what you could say is, your purchase must be done within the next 60 minutes here. And the reason why in the next 60 minutes, because you're going to set a timer on your phone or on your computer to come back and check your shopping cart back end in 60 minutes and wait for that discount code and purchase to come through, so that you can verify that if you have a $250 purchase limit on the discount code that they were supposed to maintain, that if they exceeded that, you cancel the order and you call them back and say, hey, I told you it's a max of $250. And the reason for that is because, as far as I know, like with Shopify and the main shopping carts out there, you could create one-time use discount codes, but there's no way to create a one-time use discount code and have it to where they can only spend up to this much money, up to $250, up to $500. So to get around that, you just simply could tell them on the phone, which is why you want them to call, of course, as well, instead of just having the discount code show up on the Hello Bar. saying it's only $250. If you spend over $250, we'll cancel the order. You can even tell them that if you want to be straightforward with them. And then, of course, an hour later, you make sure that that order went through and that it wasn't over $250 if that was supposedly your limit, and then you're good. Okay? So, respectively, and then of course, you tell them, like I said, it has to be done within the next 60 minutes so that, ultimately after the 60 minutes, if they haven't made the purchase, you just cancel the one-time use discount code, and then if they try to make the purchase, it won't work, and they'll have to call you back in order to use it again. So you make them, let it be known that you have to use this within the next 60 minutes because they got to verify your order after it comes through. Anyway, that's a great way to do it that we found. And so with all that said, other things to mention here, if you're worried about people abusing this, coming back and using it again, the main way that you can prevent that is by having the person call, this allows you to check your customer database before you hand out the discount code, which is the main reason why you have them call for the discount code instead of just having it show up on the hello bar. And you could say, give me your email address, give me your mailing address, and if either one of those are in your system already, you say, sorry, we can't offer this to you, you're already a customer, okay? Or like I said, if you're going to offer it for their first 3 purchases so they can build a habit, well, this is the 4th purchase, sorry, we don't offer it to you anymore. And that will generally take care of most of it. However, they're all, some people are snide, they are clever, they may actually go and try to give you another email address and another address to send the stuff to, right? As you know. So in order to prevent that, what you can do, as we found, is you can go take one extra step further, and you could say, in order to get the discount code, please text us a copy of your ID to verify that you're a new customer. And then that'll definitely take care of it, because ultimately, it's not going to be very easy for them to get somebody else's ID to send to you, for the most part. Obviously, they could still get around that, but that'll add an extra layer of protection to it. Ultimately, here, that's the full package of what you need to do and should do with all of this, okay? In order to get it to work, not get it abused, and not have to offer your stuff to people where, well, basically they're going to take advantage of your offer, if you will, to put the safeguards in place. But that's in general the funnel, if you will, to offer the half off to customers, new customers that are coming through that are from your competitors' customers, to get them as your customers, okay? So that's the full system. Now, I did this for 2 different brands here specifically. We've done variations of this for many other brands, as I mentioned, but for this one specifically, we did it for a supplement brand that's e-commerce, and then we did it for a B2B related service, which I can't mention the service directly since it's a very specific service, and it doesn't really fit into any other category. I don't want to give the exact client away. But anyway, as it comes to the supplement brand, okay, our cost per acquisition on a product that averaged $31 per average transaction size, okay, was $17. Okay, so you're saying right away, why is it that you'd pay $17 in advertising cost to get a customer that's only spending $31 typically? And again, it goes back to, you have to change your mindset. If you're going to dominate your market, you've got to be able to figure out what a customer is truly worth and be willing to wait for your return to come in. Whoever's willing to wait the longest to get your full return for customers coming in is going to be the person who dominates the market. That's almost how it is in every single market. Because most people want to return immediately. They want to be able to sell something and immediately make money. And then all the repeat purchases, oh, well, that's just extra. If you are willing to wait and understand that you start making money on the 4th purchase, most of your competitors won't do that, and now you have a way to get customers that they so-called can't afford to get, and then therefore over time you just end up with more and more and more, higher percentage of all the customers to the point where you have most of them. So the only question is it going to be you or somebody else who has those cojones to actually physically do it? Anyway, so $17 to get somebody, in terms of advertising cost, to have our ad show up in front of somebody who's looking for the competitor to come through our offer and take our half off offer, which we're not making anything in terms of profit on the initial order. Okay, but like I said, you're going to need to do. You're going to have to figure out how many times do people on average come back and repurchase. In that market, for that client, and for that supplement brand, should I say, the average amount of purchases a new customer has coming in is 3.5 purchases for every customer that comes in. They buy an average of 3.5 times. Okay? So, anyway, with that said, when you factor it's 3.5, the average person buys 3.5 times, and it's cost $17 to get somebody in terms of advertising cost to come in and buy the first time, it actually works out to only $4.86 in marketing cost per purchase, given that each person's going to purchase 3.5 times, if you follow my math. Okay? Now, with the average purchase transaction amount being $31 cost per transaction, now it comes out to where we have a 455% ROI from our campaign, even though it costs us $17 in advertising cost to get the person through our campaign funnel here, and they only spent $31 on average for the customers that we average get through the cart. So, and actually this 455% number, by the way, factors in out of the 3.5 average purchases that each customer typically makes over their lifetime, that the first purchase is zero profit. So I didn't even count the initial purchase. This is just counting the 2.5 future purchases that they're going to make itself. So this takes care of the advertising cost, and basically doesn't assume there's any profit on the first order. We're still making a 455% return at the end of the day off of this campaign funnel. So this is, as I mentioned, what you need to do in order to make a pile of money in what you're doing when you're dealing with repeat customer businesses, to be able to really, really crush it in your market. You got to figure out what are the type of customers that end up spending lots of money over time. Are they buying certain products? Okay, you need to sell those products as a loss, or whatever you have to do to get more people to buy that. Or in this case, you can get them from those type of customers from your competitor. We're going to offer them to where we make no money on the initial purchase to get them as a customer. And because you know something the competitor doesn't know about what the math really works out to in terms of how much people eventually buy from you when they become an initial customer, you end up with those customers and the competitor don't, and you end up with greater and greater market share obtained through possible running search ads over time, because you've actually done that math and you acted on it. So anyway, that's for a supplement brand, how that worked out. So in 455% ROI, you may be saying that's not that great of an ROI. For a supplement brand, that's a good ROI already, because the supplements basically cost nothing to make for the most part, most supplements. So it's a good enough return for that market. However, in other markets, your return can be 2,000% return, depending on what you're selling. For people that have higher ticket sizes and higher customer lifetime value, can be 2,000, 3,000 plus ROI because of that higher ticket size. So in the second situation and client where we worked this system, as I mentioned to you here on this video, it was a B2B service, a specialized B2B service that people usually get multiple times because they need to refresh their data, their information. And in that market, because the cost per click is just naturally higher on their competitor terms and in their market as well on Google search, instead of $17 like we had for the supplement brand to get a person in terms of advertising cost to take our offer, our half off offer up front and make an initial purchase from us for half off, it cost $185 in advertising cost to get them to buy from us the first time, and with that giving them half off. And then with that particular business, looking at their books, they only had an average of 2.1 purchases per client that they got. So they didn't come back nearly as frequent as the supplement company coming back and purchasing again, but that part's irrelevant because the amount per transaction is so big. The average revenue per transaction at that particular company is $3,158 average value per transaction. So even though they're only dealing with people that come back, sometimes, or an average of 2.1 times each, okay? And even though they're paying $185 to get somebody from the competitor to take them up on their half-off offer, the ROI of the campaign ended up being 1,878% because that average transaction size was so great. So the $185 cost to get them to acquire them for that initial purchase actually works out to only $88 roughly, or $88.01 per transaction when you factor in each person averages 2.1 transactions with the firm. Okay? So anyway, again, we already been assuming we're making money on the initial transaction, but the extra 1.1 transactions we're going to get in future business from that each person that we get through this funnel, each one being worth an average of $31.58 per transaction, you divide that revenue by the amount that it costs to get them through the initial funnel here, $185 for the cost to get them to buy initially, an advertising spend. That's how we end up with our 1,878% ROI. So again, you can make nothing on the initial transaction as long as your average customer buys from you on average a reasonable amount of time more than that, then it doesn't matter. And the best customers you can get are the customers from your competitor, the loyal customers from your competitor, I should say. And obviously, for the people that are dealing with your competitor and searching for them, at least half of them are going to be good, loyal customers that you would want. Versus if you're targeting people on Google search that are looking for a new company, less than half of those people are going to be good, loyal customers long term. A lot of those are just going to be one-offs, as you should know or do know. So why would you go ahead and focus first on getting people that are looking for your company, for your products and services outright, when you can tap into your competitors' loyal customers first that are typically worth more in terms of their lifetime value? It makes no sense. Only makes sense to make less money to acquire a customer that's going to be spending more in the long term, because the overall ROI doing that is much greater than targeting people who will spend full price for you up front but never really buy from you more than that long term. So anyway, it's a mindset to get behind it and what we're doing here, and understanding what's the true ROI on marketing activities and what things that we can do. You need to be looking at lifetime value versus initial ROI on initial purchases if you're going to be able to create arbitrage of the opportunities that are there available in your market. Your competitors know what's out there in terms of Google search ads and stuff, but if they're looking at what ROI comes from the initial transaction and you're looking at it from the lifetime value perspective, you're long term, over the next 5 years, you're going to end up making 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times as much as them, because the ultra profitable customers, they're not even focused on them, and you are. And slowly, again, those ultra profitable customers, yes, you don't make your money off of them for a while, but when the money starts coming in and it's really piling up, it starts flying in, because you've got all your competitors, in this case, loyal customers, and they're all coming back and coming back and coming back, and all buying, of course, and you didn't have to spend any money for those recurring purchases. So anyway, it's just something you're going to have to, if you're not looking at customer lifetime value and then using that as a tool to understand how much you can pay through Google search or PPC to acquire a customer, you should change your mindset and get behind it, because it's much more profitable for your company to do longer term. Of course, and if you're in a position where you need sales today, I understand if you're doing some of this other stuff, but if you're in an okay position, start focusing on lifetime value and figuring out how to get better customers, one of which being going after competitors' customers. If you've done this, you can start going after people who've searched for your competitor recently, and you can run and make sure they see banner ads after they leave Google for the next 30 to 90 days, like I talked about for the spa company. Then you could start having ads show up on Facebook if that they've dealt with a competitor, because you can get access to those customer data lists through American Express. You can get them through companies like Nextmark, Axiom, data broker companies that have access to that data. If you're in a market that is not super niche, you should be able to get access to that data and go after those people. And then, so while everybody else is trying to bid up the cost of getting a customer through Google search looking for your products and services, you're going after people who were already customers of the competitor, offering them just a small little discount up front and then stealing them away from them. So essentially what you got going is all your competitors paying big money to market and bring awareness to the market and get those customers, and then you're stealing them away from them from pennies for all the future purchases that they're going to make. So it's a very sly way of make it up top in your market in a way that most of your competitors aren't even going to know about. Of course, at least with this strategy, they're going to see you're doing it if they're searching for their own name once in a while. But these other methods where you're running the display ads at your competitors' audiences, they're never going to really see that for the most part. Probably will never even know it's happening, and they'll wonder why all their customers are leaving them and not really know why. So something to chuckle about, ultimately thinking about that. And then they'll wonder why all their customers are going away, and then they'll change this and change that, and really they didn't need to change anything. So really they're just dismantling parts of their business that worked, and then that's causing even more chaos. And think about what that's going to do to your competitors if you do that. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I have a lot of other videos like this, by the way, on this channel about how to make money with PPC ads. Actual actionable advice on how to make money with PPC on Google ads, Facebook ads, and so forth. Stuff you're not going to find on YouTube here, period. The reason why we can do it is because I have a PPC agency I run here and strategize for our clients for about 5 dozen clients at any given time or thereof. In that, all the stuff we're testing and we know works, I give it to you on this channel. So if you want to know what really works out there, as well as stuff that doesn't work, you watch this channel, I'm going to give it to you. So with that, you should subscribe. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a like, and so we can get it out there for a few other people that are in your position that would like to see this information as well. I'd appreciate that very much. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment down below about this material. I'll get back to every single person who leaves me a comment. You can ask about this or any other PPC comment or question that you have about things you're doing. I'll gladly respond in the comment section if you have anything else you'd like to ask as well. So, and as a couple other notes, I have a blog, by the way, at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where you can find information and strategies that I have written out on my blog personally, where you can see step by step how to set up PPC campaigns like we're setting up at our PPC firm for our clients to guarantee their results. And so if you want to know on a more step-by-step basis how to do things with PPC and making money versus on this channel, we cover the high-level stuff on what works and what doesn't. You can find great information from myself there as well as we have a brand new program here where we offer turnkey PPC campaigns. What that is if you're looking to start up a new business, you can come to us and see if we have a campaign template that we've already built out for that market in terms of campaigns, landing pages that already work for a certain market. And the way that we can do that is because for local businesses, clients in one local market, you're in another local market, there's no reason why you have to build up your own campaign when that client never will compete in your market, so you can get the results that that client is getting in that other market in your own market. And some clients that we have are in one country, and you can use the same campaigns in your own country and get the results that we were getting in one country, in your own country. And with that, the great thing is what results you can get with PPC before you even start. You also don't have to pay for ongoing PPC services from a company like ours. You could just use the campaign templates that are already getting the multi-million-dollar a year sales results in that market, because we've optimized those campaigns in that market up for years, optimizing those campaigns to get those results. You can get them basically in the first few months using that exact template that we use to get results in that market for yourself. And so you could start up a business, outsource the work to another partner in your area, take 10% of the revenue off the top for profit, and have a passive income business. Or perhaps we have a campaign template we've already put together in your market already. And we do have templates for e-commerce and service businesses as well. So anyway, if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to us. I'll let you know what campaign templates we have and what results we've gotten in those specific markets. But beyond that, I'll let you go with that, and I'll wrap it up with that information. So if you want to see my next video, I'll have another video out for you in the next day or two on another great PPC topic on how to make more money with your PPC ads through Google or Facebook itself. See you later.